Guys, I don't know how we missed this golden opportunity to talk about Joe Biden and I guess his, was it Uncle Bossy? The one whose plane went down and apparently he supposedly got eaten by cannibals? We totally missed that story yesterday. Well, now, and right before the broadcast, I did hear Eric and Gary talking about it. And the president says for real that his Uncle Bossy supposedly went down. They never found his body. Was, I guess, on an island full of cannibals. And I guess that is what the implication is. Well, now, and I don't exactly know what Gary and Eric were saying, but the front page, the top story of the Daily Mail is all about Joe Biden's, I guess, uncle who went down on a cannibal-ridden island, and they're totally debunking the entire flippin' story. So, wow.
Boy, that's...
You know, of all the stories to make up, why would you make up a story about your uncle getting eaten by cannibals?
And was his uncle wearing a towel and shaving cream? That's what we...
That's a great story.
Well, whoever ate him needs some help, if that's the case.
Well, I guess he had a terrible day yesterday.
Uncle Bossy?
Uncle Bossy.
Bosse. You guys want to just hear the audio?
Sure,
Yes,
we'd love
yes.
to.
I don't know if Gary and Eric played it. I'm sorry if they just played it. Now I'm going to play it. But this is the audio, and I haven't tightened it up yet. But this is Joe Biden. I think it was the same time period where he was having such a hard time yesterday, talking about the towel and the shaving cream.
Back when D-Day occurred, and on Sunday, the next day, my mother's 4 brothers all went down to the recruiting station and joined the military. Every one of them volunteered. And my uncle, they called him Ambrose, Brosey, they called him Bosie. My Uncle Bosie was a hell of an athlete, they tell me, when he was a kid. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones.
Right.
He got shot down in New Guinea. And they never found the body because there were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea.
There you go. A lot of cannibals there in New Guinea. I don't know if there's cannibals in New Guinea or not.
Where is he saying this at?
I think he was at a union.
Was this at the big union
Yeah, it was at the union thing in Pennsylvania.
I've got to see what people's reaction is, what the looks on their faces are.
Here's what the Daily Mail says. However, Biden's account was, well, if you see the video, people are standing behind Biden and they're trying to stay awake. And so they're just, do you know what it's like? OMG. If you look at the video, Ken, folks, and Ken, put it to our social media if you can. The people behind Biden, they're like emotionless. I mean, you would think that if Biden, the president of the United States, is talking about his uncle getting eaten by cannibals, the people behind him would be like, really?
Wow. I like how he had to sprinkle in there how Uncle Bosie was a hell of an athlete before he became a war pilot.
Yes.
However, Biden's account was inconsistent with Pentagon records, which showed the plane was not shot down, as he said.
Oh, my.
According to his own Defense Department, it was a courier flight that suffered engine failure and ditched in the ocean off of Papua New Guinea on May 14th, 1944. His uncle was a passenger rather than the pilot.
Why does Saturday Night Live not have all of these stories?
Biden made the cannibal comments on a trip to Scranton, Pennsylvania, where he visited a war memorial bearing the name of his relative, who was known by the family as Uncle, he said Bosie.
Yeah.
Bosie.
Uncle Bosie.
Yeah, Uncle Bosie.
The president said he got shot down in an area where there's a lot of cannibals at the time. They never recovered his body, but the government went back when I was down there and they checked and found parts of the plane and the like, is what he says.
So, wow. Well, that's right up there with Corn Pop.
Oh, that's beyond Corn Pop. Man, this is
Well, yeah, that's true.
This is an all new bizarre.
Yeah, it's I don't know how he gets these stories though.
I just love how he sprinkles in. He was a hell of an athlete.
Yes, and you can always tell when he's probably lying for real. Everything's
Right.
for real. Really.
They also say there were reports in the National Archives submitted by pilots who went looking for the missing plane. They reported searching the water all the way, and they said that they couldn't find any sightings of the plane. Pilots reported back no trace was found of the plane that he was on. Crew also missing. So it sounds like the plane went down and they never found the guy, but it doesn't mean that he was eaten by the cannibals.
No.
Good Lord.
And he was a passenger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a
Pilot.
According to the report, Finnegan was not, Uncle Bosie, was not flying the plane, but was a passenger. The report by the Defense POW MIA accounting agency said there was a crew of 3 and 1 passenger, and the plane departed an airfield. I can't even say the name of it. Mamodi Airfield? Anyway.
Whatever.
For unknown reason, this plane was forced to ditch in the ocean off the north coast of New Guinea. Both engines failed at a low altitude, and the aircraft's nose hit the water hard. 3 men failed to emerge from the sinking wreck and were lost in the crash. So they were lost at sea.
Yes.
Apparently a pterodactyl started attacking them midair.
That's what happened at Pterodactyl. Oh, my gosh. Well, by the way, his lying, didn't end there.
And then my son volunteered to go to Iraq for a year, and he came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. And
That's true.
And they gave, like many of you, risked your lives, and people who gave their lives for the country. They're heroes. But one of the things that as I was doing that today, I was reminded of what my opponent said in Paris not too long ago. They asked him to go visit American grave sites. He said no, he wouldn't do it because they were all suckers and losers.
Do you know how many times that's been debunked?
Over
Yes.
and over and over again.
That has been debunked many, many times.
I'm not making that up.
You are actually making that
Yes, you are, Joe.
up. You're making that up.
I'm not making that up.
You are making that up. Just stop lying.
I'm not making that up.
Yeah,
Joe
when he
ma-
makes things up, that's what he says.
Joe may be made up.
And I'd like to find out if Uncle Bosie, he was probably towel boy with the,
Well, he's a hell of an athlete.
well, that's what I mean. He was probably the towel boy.
There you
That
go.
was probably his athleticism.
You know what Joe always says.
I'm not making that up.
Not making that up. That's what Joe Biden says.
Man, what a fantasy land this man
Where do
lives
but
in.
see, here's the thing.
Wow.
Like, where do you get? I'm just trying to follow the line of thought.
Good luck,
Like
brother
you're
man.
a plane goes nose first into the ocean really hard. It sinks, and then nobody emerges except for one. One guy was rescued, but 3 clearly go down with the plane. How does he go from that to he got eaten by cannibals? I don't know, man.
Wow.
Man, he should write short stories.
Boy, he should.
He missed
Actually.
his calling.
By the way, it turns out he told the cannibal story 3 times.
In one sitting?
This is what the RNC research says. It's a website, or it's a Twitter feed. Biden, for the 3rd time in less than 24 hours, tells the dubious story about his Uncle Bosie and a lot of cannibals in New Guinea before repeating the debunked story about suckers and losers and Donald Trump. He also, by the way, claimed that D-Day they say was on a Sunday. It was actually on a Tuesday. He told the story 3 times about cannibals.
Goodness.
So, yeah, there you go.
Somebody's got to do some follow-up to Uncle Bosie.
Yes, we got to find out more about Uncle Bosie.
Were there actually cannibals on, where is it, New Guinea?
New Guinea?
Yeah, were there actually cannibals there?
I'm not making that up.
I don't know. I would be interested. There probably were.
Oh, I'm sure there were.
Like, there's got to be some sort of a thing in his head that is pulling something out, and he is concocting this entire big story out of something in his brain. I don't know, but he's not well. They say at RNC Research, and it's clear Joe Biden is not well.
No. No.
No, I mean, just listen to the lack of energy in that speech. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh,
and that's
boy,
the thing.
Yesterday, man, the mainstream, I mean, they were making him look like he was something else.
Well, the problem, and
He was on fire.
oh, was he on fire? Because
Back when D-Day occurred,
Well, see, that's what they do, man. They show like 5 seconds of him.
Yeah.
And then the reporter tells the story for him.
and on Sunday, the next day, my mother's 4 brothers all went down.
How do you allow that to go out on the campaign trail? I mean, you want to talk about, and here's the funny part, is that they made fun of Donald Trump for falling asleep during that jury selection in New York.
Yeah.
Yet nobody's got anything to say about.
And my uncle, they called him Ambrose.
You know what I mean? It's like he's slurring his words. He's barely awake. I don't know how to describe that pattern of speaking that he has. Like, how do you describe that pattern of speaking? I don't know.
Lying?
Well, yes, Ken, lying. That's clearly one. But just the low level,
Back when D-Day occurred,
tired, gravelly.
Sunday, the next day.
Like, what is the
my mother's 4
adjective
brothers
for
all
that?
Went down to the recruiting station and joined the
I don't-
military. Every one of them volunteered. And my uncle,
it is
they
so
called him
quiet
Ambrose,
inside
Bosey,
his
Bosey,
speeches,
Uncle Bosey.
and it's almost like, oh my gosh, the great Joe Biden is speaking, the great whatever,
Yeah.
the great orator Joe Biden is speaking. It's like,
with those single-engine planes,
no, he's
as
just
reconnaissance
lulling everyone to sleep.
war
Yeah.
zones.
You know what I think? Maybe listening to Joe Biden might be like the human voice version of melatonin.
To be,
Yeah.
There are a lot of cannibals.
You know what I mean?
Listening to the cabin of a jet.
Yeah, it's like oh my gosh, you know what it's like? It is like one of those box fans.
Yeah, it's a box fan.
It's a box. It's like a human box fan. If you want to go to sleep, put on Joe
Risk
Biden,
your life and
and it's like a human box fan.
It's white noise.
It's like white noise. Oh my gosh, that is absolutely right.
It's like a box fan on low.
Of what my opponent said in Paris.
Oh my god, we gotta go.
Did you see yesterday where they apparently in Scranton they got a handful of little kids to start chanting "We Love Joe"?
No.
Oh, no.
Did they really?
Yeah, he's walking next to a school,
Oh, my.
and you hear like maybe 10 kids. "We love Joe."
Dude, that is like Pravda.
It is.
You know what I mean? That is like North Korea. Kim Jong-un is coming to visit this school, and they are making the starving children chant, "We love Kim Jong-un," although that doesn't flow as well as "We love Joe." But we get my point.
Well, you do know that Kim Jong-un had 9 holes in one his first time out.
I
golfing.
remember that story. That it's just an incredible golfer. First time out, Kim Jong-un.
Right off the bat, boy.
I always win, Yankee dog.
We love Joe.
Let's see now. All right, so the Members Nutrition Super Text line, 4214, Bueller. You guys remember that?
Yes, that's it.
Another guy, 6872, says E.F. Hutton. Rooster says, sounds like Joe Biden should be an NPR commissioner. Philip says, you're putting me to sleep. I hope he's talking about the audio of Joe.
Goodness.
And, wow. Mike H. says, Uncle Bosey tastes like chicken.
Oh, my God. Man, what a weird world we're living in.